Oh, the Patriots lost again. Here we go. Back to our normal schedule. Welcome to the Impossible Podcast, specifically the NFL Rants podcast series that we do here on the Impossible Podcast and on the Impossible YouTube channel. If you like what you hear, make sure you subscribe and hit the follow button on Spotify, Apple Podcast, YouTube, and you can also follow me on Twitch, and I'll have my link in the bio. It's Impossible. But that being said, we're going to talk about the Week 11 game between the Los Angeles Rams and the New England Patriots. So if I had one sentence to describe this game, the Pats were like a kid riding a bike for the first time. They started out in control, and then things just spiraled quickly and they ended up falling on their face. A few takeaways for the game are that the Patriots looked good in the first quarter. They felt like they had control of the ball. They were, controlling the offensive possessions and everything. They actually had more time of possession for the whole game, and yet they still lost. And after the first quarter, it just looked like they fell apart. Now, I said last week that if they neutralized the passing game of Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp, and Puka Nacua, they'd be fine. You want to guess what happened? Now, on Tom Curran's Patriots Talk podcast, Phil Perry and Tom Curran, they actually made a really good point. This is one thing that I wanted to kind of bring up, are why on a 4th and 1 near the end of the game on a really pivotal situation do you have two rookie wide receivers who have been messing up all season? You have Jalen Polk and you have Javon Baker. Javon Baker has barely even played, and Jalen Polk, best hands in the league, has not been executing to the way that a $1 million wide receiver should be playing. The other thing as well, and the last takeaway that I'll bring up before I mention any stats at any point, is that the last Patriots score was on a field goal, and the drive was horribly called by Gerard Mayo. Why are we running it for 3 straight times when we know that Ramondre Stevenson has not been able to find any gaps and push through all game? It makes no sense. The play calling just did not match up with what we were supposed to do. Ramondre did not look good, really, that game at all. Starting with the Rams offense, Matthew Stafford, 18 for 27, 295 yards, and 4 touchdowns. What are we doing? Like I said, the run game that they had was only 107 yards on the ground. 107. That is lower half of the league numbers. And if you just covered Cooper Kupp and Puka, you may or may not have actually won. Puka Nacua ended up getting 7 catches, 123 yards, and a touchdown. He looked like he got banged up on the tail end of that play on that sliding catch, but he ended up playing a little bit more snaps after that, so wasn't too much of an injury. I think he just got the wind knocked out of him. Cooper Kupp ended up with 6 catches, 106 yards, and 2 touchdowns, one of which, by the way, was off of a cover 0 that Matthew Stafford saw from a mile away. We called that play against Geno Smith and the Seahawks, and it ended up costing us a wide open touchdown there. So why do we think that that was a good idea? It was a questionable play call kind of all game by Gerard Mayo. I think there's definitely a lot of coaching mistakes that need to be kind of cleaned up quite a bit. Looking at the Patriots offense, Drake May had 282 yards with 2 touchdowns and a pick. That pick at the end of the game towards Demario Douglas, it was a high throw, but they should have been on the same page. They kind of chalked it up to a communication error between quarterback and wide receiver, talking about breaking on the route and not making eye contact. I will give them credit. I will give Demario Douglas a little bit of credit. Should have thrown the ball maybe a little bit lower. However, they should have looked and got eye contact with each other a lot sooner, which if they did, maybe they could have kept the drive going. Maybe. Kendrick Bourne led the day with 70 yards, 1 touchdown. Glad to see that he's actually getting more involved in the offense. I think Kendrick Bourne has been an incredible addition to the Patriots since that 2021 free agency, but it was just a matter of how can we get him involved in the passing game. Also, Vidarian Lowe, offensive lineman touchdown? What? Out of all teams that should not have been doing that, it was the Patriots, and yet we still got away with it? Sure, I guess. It didn't really help out much because we didn't win. We got close. We didn't win, though. Overall, though, just as a recap for the Week 11 Rams-Patriots game, the play calling, I think, just simply needs to be better. We know that all-out blitz is not going to work because we don't have the coverage to be able to line up and do that. Matthew Stafford called that from a mile away, so that needs to be known. Drake May, though, did a very good job, and I'm glad that he stayed in the pocket a little bit more as well, even though he might have gotten sacked a few times right there. I think it's really unfair for Gerard Mayo and the Patriots coaching staff to keep relying on him to bail out drives with his legs. That should be the last resort, but he's playing really, really well, even though he's having offensive line issues. Taking a look at the upcoming Week 12 game against the Miami Dolphins, the Dolphins' defense is near bottom of the league, and they're coming off a win against the Raiders. Granted, it's the Raiders who are in line to get a top 5 draft pick for next year. The key for the Patriots remains the same. Can they neutralize the offense? It hasn't looked great at all this year when it comes to the Miami offense, and their record isn't looking super great, but Tua was also out during those stretches. Frankly, we should have won, but we started Jacoby Brissett, which we really, truthfully, probably could have won if we had started Drake May, but I don't know, Gerard Mayo. I don't get paid millions of dollars to make bad decisions. If you couldn't tell already, one of the main themes is imagine getting paid millions of dollars to not do your job well. I don't know. Just something to think about. Either way, though, I'm intrigued to see how the Patriots line up with this one right here. The defense last time ended up holding off a really, really poor offense. The big question here is a matter of whether or not Gerard Mayo can draft a game plan that's going to neutralize the offense, and specifically the run game with Devon Achane and the passing game with Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Jonnu Smith, apparently. Jonnu Smith has been kind of used quite a lot in the Dolphins offense for this season right here, which I wish we would have done that with our team because he was on our team 2 years ago. We could have done that. Not the point. So that being said, let me know what you think about the game, either in the Spotify comments and the YouTube comments. Let me know how you're feeling about stuff. Let me know how you're feeling about the Patriots season. It looks like there are quite a few rough games ahead that I feel like we might not be able to pull out. So now it's just kind of a week to week of what can we do to kind of pull some wins together, and how can we possibly build around Drake May coming forward from that loss and from probably the many losses that are coming ahead. Either way, let me know what you think. I appreciate you being here. Be good to yourself along the way. Hope your team wins, unless you're the Chiefs, but they're not going to lose against the Panthers. Oh! Be good to yourself.